In every quiet town, behind the manicured lawns and friendly smiles, there are stories that never make it to the surface. Pine Grove Estates promised peace, order, and community. But for one man, it became the stage for a silent war fought not with fists, but with bylaws, photos, and buried secrets. This isn't just about a car. It's about control, justice, and what happens when you refuse to back down. When I moved to Pine Grove Estates, I was chasing silence, not just quiet, but peace. After 2 decades of sirens, smog, and paperwork as a chief traffic officer in the city, I craved a place where I could sip my coffee without hearing a horn blast or a couple arguing over parking lines. The town was perfect. Tree-lined streets, trimmed lawns, neighbors who smiled and waved but didn't pry. For exactly 6 days, I believed I had found a slice of heaven. On the 7th, I met Karen Thompson. She was standing in my driveway, iPhone raised like a badge of honor, snapping pictures of my black Ford Explorer. It looks like a commercial vehicle. She said without so much as a good morning, "It's my personal car." I replied, still holding my coffee. "It's violating HOA code 421, she said crisply, tapping at her screen. "Commercial-looking vehicles must be garaged. We'll discuss it at the next meeting." She turned and strutted off, her designer tracksuit glinting in the sun like polished armor. I laughed at first. Surely, it was a misunderstanding. It wasn't. The letters started arriving 2 days later, thin white envelopes with thick red stamps that felt more like warnings than notices. The HOA claimed my car was in violation of aesthetic standards. Never mind the fact that my garage was undergoing renovation. Never mind that Karen had never once introduced herself as a neighbor. She wasn't interested in understanding, she was interested in control. And control, I came to realize, was her drug. Karen didn't stop with letters. She started showing up with her phone, recording me as I backed out of my driveway, walking her yappy Pomeranian past my house 6 times a day. Always lingering near my car, she'd pretend to pick up dog poop that wasn't there. Crouching just close enough to snap another angle, I tried to ignore her, hoping she'd get bored. But the truth kept gnawing at me. I knew Karen Thompson, years ago, back in the city. She was infamous among the traffic patrol, habitually parking in handicapped spots without a placard, blocking fire hydrants, even once leaving her car in a school zone during peak hours. I'd written her multiple tickets myself. Every time, she contested them. Every time, she got off with a warning thanks to her brother-in-law, a judge who'd whisper favors into the right ears. But now she was in my backyard, and this time, she didn't have a bench to hide behind. I dug through my old case files. I still had access to city records through retired officer privileges. And there they were, 12 unresolved infractions, 3 dismissed under questionable circumstances, and 1 still marked pending investigation, a tow incident that mysteriously disappeared from public logs. I printed everything and kept it sealed in an envelope. I wasn't going to use it yet. I still hoped for a civil resolution. That hope died at the HOA meeting. Karen had printed a full slideshow, 8 photos of my car from different angles. 2 dramatized graphics claiming property values had dropped by 4%, and 1 particularly aggressive slide labeled, "The threat in our driveways." She clicked her tongue. If we let this go, what's next? Refrigerated trucks tow rigs. This is a residential community, not a mechanic's lot. I raised my hand, calmly. Would the board be willing to hear about Karen Thompson's history of traffic violations and unresolved citations? She froze. "I have official documents." I continued, proving a pattern of reckless and illegal parking, some of them from this very woman who now calls my vehicle a threat. There was a silence so thick you could almost hear her wig slipping. She laughed too loudly. "That's ancient history, irrelevant." I slid the envelope across the table to the board president, a former defense attorney named Maureen, who didn't smile much. Maureen read. Her brow rose. "Karen, why do you have 12 unresolved citations from city traffic enforcement?" Karen's voice rose in pitch. "It's a smear campaign. He's making this personal." "No." I said, "You made it personal the day you stepped into my driveway with a phone instead of a handshake." The vote was swift. Her proposed bylaw failed. But that wasn't the end. 2 days later, Someone egged my car. Then came the anonymous complaint about excessive noise from me sitting on my porch with a Bluetooth speaker on volume 3. I knew Karen wasn't done, but this wasn't about revenge anymore. This was about something deeper. I filed a formal complaint with the state HOA Oversight Committee, attaching all the documentation, her harassment, the false claims, her prior violations. I didn't expect much. These things moved slowly. But fate works fast when the right pressure is applied. 2 weeks later, Karen Thompson resigned for personal reasons. That morning, I sat on my porch. It was quiet again. Not just peaceful, but truly quiet. A few neighbors wandered by. One man I'd only ever seen walking his Labrador paused. "I voted against you," he admitted. "I thought you were just being stubborn." "It's okay." I said, "No, it's not." He looked away. "She scared most of us into silence. Thanks for standing up." Later, Maureen dropped by with a bottle of wine, "For whatever it's worth. You reminded this neighborhood what it means to live together. Not under someone." I thanked her. We didn't speak about it again. Weeks passed. The neighborhood softened. Kids played outside again. Lawn chairs reappeared on porches, and no one cared about where I parked anymore. One day, I walked by Karen's old house. She had moved out. A new couple was settling in. A pink wig fluttered on a bush in the front yard. Rumor had it she'd worn it during a meltdown at the board office, and it had blown off dramatically during her exit. That wig became legend. But the truth was quieter, more lasting. It wasn't about parking. It was about power, about fear, about the quiet rot that sets in when we stop standing up for each other. I came to Pine Grove to find peace. I ended up finding something better, a community worth believing in. And for the first time in years, I felt at home.